Well, it's a very warm welcome and thank you for joining me on this independent off-tube studio commentary. It's the final round of group games in the Europa League and at Celtic Park. Celtic taking on Real Betis, a game that won't affect Group G too much in terms of how the sides are. Leverkusen and Betis will be going through in the top two spots. Celtic are guaranteed third place with their 6-point advantage over Ferencvaros. But certainly Angelos Postecoglou's side will want to get a good performance in this evening, and they'll be up against a very well drilled side in Manuel Pellegrini's Betis. So let's hope it is going to be a good game. Perhaps the pressure off both sides so they can just concentrate on playing a good game of football. But for Celtic, it is Scott Bain in goal with the back four of Azaze Urahide, Stephen Welsh, Adam Montgomery and Liam Scales. Biton, Ismaila Sora and Liam Shaw across the middle with Jamie McCarthy, Liel Abada and Albion Ajeti as the three up front. As for Real Betis, it is Rui Silva in goal with the back four of Aitor Rubial, German Pezzella, Edgar Gonzalez, Juan Miranda with the two holder midfielders Paul Akoukou and William Carvalho. Diego Lainez, Joaquin and Tello are the attacking three, playing behind Borja Iglesias. And the ball just to put out of play. A game got underway by our referee this evening, Daniel Stefanski from Poland. And Celtic in possession now down the left-hand side. Scales under a bit of pressure, rolling this ball back towards Montgomery. Played all the way back now towards Scott Bain, as you would expect. Almost a full crowd, just a couple of rows of seats in front of the pitch. They're just left empty, but other than that, looks like it's a good crowd at Celtic Park this evening. And a bit of a loose ball in midfield. That could potentially be costly for Celtic. Just about recovered by Sora. Now ball played out towards the right-hand side. Here is Abada, gets to the edge of the area, puts a decent cross in as well. And that one is volleyed out by Aitor Ruibal and out for a corner kick. Well, Celtic recovered well there. It looked like they might have put themselves under a bit of pressure there. That ball played into Shaw on the halfway line. It looks like it was getting away from him, but it was just about recovered by McCarthy, then played down the right-hand side towards Abada, and the ball eventually crossed in and put out for a corner. It's going to be an outswinger from Abada, aimed at the edge of the six-yard box. This is a great chance, and he can't quite get the ball out from under his feet. It drops to Liam Shaw. He wants another corner kick. I'm not sure he's going to get it, but that was such a good opportunity for Shaw. I think the referee may have actually just changed his mind. It may just be given as a corner, but this ball drops to Shaw. He's 7 yards out when it falls to him. Just can't quite get the shot away, but as he is trying to shoot, it does get a deflection off Paul Akoukou, and it will be another corner kick to Celtic, this time from the left-hand side. Abada once again with an in-swing. Oh, it's going to be in the back of the net. It's an own goal. I think it's, although it looks like Stephen Welsh is peeling away to celebrate that one. We'll have to see from the replay whether it is Welsh who does get the final touch on it. But the perfect start for Celtic. They take the lead inside 3 minutes. And not much reaction there from Angelos Postecoglou, but I'm sure he'll be very happy with how his side have started. I think it may actually be Stephen Welsh. It did look to me as though a defender had just beaten him to the ball, but it looks like it is Welsh. If it's not Welsh, then it may have just come off the head there of Pezzella. But this replay, no, it is definitely the back of Stephen Welsh's head that gets the final touch. It's a really clever header as well if he intended to do exactly that. But the perfect start here for Celtic. Betis have barely had any possession in these first few minutes, and already the home side lead by a goal to nil. And Betis now getting the game underway. Not the start that the visitors would have been looking for. Juan Miranda now playing this ball back towards the edge of the area. Gonzalez already under pressure there from Ajeti, having to go back quickly towards Rui Silva. His clearance isn't the best. Pezzella then loses possession, and so does Akoukou. A great chance here now as the ball breaks into the penalty area. Ajeti just can't quite get the shots away, and I think he's actually been adjudged to have committed the foul there as well as he was breaking into the box. But that was such a good chance for Celtic to potentially go 2 up inside the first 4 minutes. And Betis, if you could take a time out in football, I think the visitors would probably like a good minute now just to slow things down, just to try and regroup, because it's been a bit of a chaotic start here for Pellegrini's side. Although Pellegrini, as we know, won't be too fazed by this. Still looks pretty calm there on the Betis bench. Another ball played back towards Rui Silva. Being closed down there by Liel Abada, but the goalkeeper does clear it up towards the halfway line. That ball is headed on by Soro. Drops over on the left-hand side as Betis look, and Tello now under a bit of pressure, rolling this ball back towards Edgar Gonzalez. So this is the first time Betis can just slow things down inside their own half. Celtic have still left plenty of men forward though, so they can't have too much time on the ball. As Akoukou now spreads the ball out towards the right-hand side. Rubio trying to get started down that right-hand side, lays the ball off here to Lainez. Ball is put out for a throw. Another game being covered on our service this evening, and it's the game between West Ham and Dinamo Zagreb, and Zagreb have already taken the lead in that game. Orsic with the goal on 4 minutes. But as far as West Ham are concerned, they know that they're still going to be first in the group, even if they were to lose the game this evening. David Moyes' men getting the work done in the previous group games. But here at Celtic Park, the visitors just trying to get into the game a little bit more. They've just given away a free kick, though. Possession inside the Celtic half is lost. And it was Lainez adjudged to have fouled Liam Scales. The ball now played back towards Scott Bain. Certainly hoping for a quiet evening, but you just get the feeling that it was important for Celtic to get a strong start, because there are some really good ball players in this Betis side. Players who are very comfortable in possession, like William Carvalho, like Joaquin, of course, the 40-year-old veteran. He's not really had a touch of the ball yet so far, but here comes Celtic now down the left-hand side. A ball from Jetty deflects into the path of Abada, then quick play at the edge of the area. The ball almost kept alive there by Liam Shaw before it's cleared back towards the halfway line. And here is the captain, Joaquin. Just rolls the ball to Lainez down the right-hand side. Back towards Rui Bal. Rui Bal there under pressure, trying to turn away from Montgomery. And in the end, Montgomery runs into him and gives away the free kick. But Celtic won't mind that, giving away a free kick inside the Betis half. Just slows the game down and will frustrate the visitors even more. Would have been very annoyed about the way that goal was scored. They barely had a touch of the ball in the first 3 minutes, and already their keeper Rui Silva having to pick the ball out the net. But here is Juan Miranda down the left-hand side. That's a great ball for Tello, who doesn't control it. I thought he had enough time to control that one, and then perhaps near Bitson just rushed his pass there a little bit, puts the ball out of play, gives Betis a chance straight away to try and get this ball into the box. It's Juan Miranda's throw. He gets the ball back from Tello, drops his shoulder, then lays that ball off towards Joaquin in the penalty area. Good challenge though from Ismail Assora. Then he brings the ball out himself, runs into Paul Akoukou. And I think Celtic would have been expecting a free kick for that, but nothing given. Just a throw to Betis. It's a long throw. It's a very accurate throw by Juan Miranda. Kept alive on this left-hand side now by Borja Iglesias. He goes down, looks towards the referee. No foul, but it is going to be a throw. Celtic captain near Bitson that put the ball out. Quickly played back towards Juan Miranda. Him and Joaquin. Now Joaquin trying to power his way past Sturahide, but that's not going to happen. The ball then played across the Celtic penalty area. But in the end, nobody in a blue Betis shirt was close enough to get on the end of that. Joaquin laid this ball off towards Juan Miranda. And it was the right idea. Nobody gambled across the 6-yard box, though. Miranda's ball was still a couple of yards short of the nearest player, who would have been Borja Iglesias. Ball now cleared up towards the halfway line. Celtic in possession down the left-hand side. A ball played on the overlap here for Liam Scales to try and chase down, but that's well marshalled by German Pizzella. He goes straight back towards his goalkeeper. Long clearance now from Rui Silva. And Silva, his clearance just goes a little bit askew, so it will be a throw on to Celtic. 8 minutes gone. Independent off-tube studio commentary. It is Celtic 1, Real Betis 0. The other games that have kicked off at 8 o'clock this evening, it's goalless between Braga and Red Star Belgrade. Goalless between Ferencváros and Leverkusen, the other game in this group. Also 0-0 between Genk and Rapid Vienna, Lazio, Galatasaray, Ludogorets, Midtjylland, Marseille, Lokomotiv Moscow. All those games are goalless early on, and West Ham trailing goals at home to Dinamo Zagreb. In that one delayed Champions League game, and it was a big game as well between Atalanta and Villarreal. Villarreal led 2-0 at half-time, and they went 3-0 up just after the start of the second half before a late recovery from Atalanta, making it 3-2, but it wasn't enough. It is Villarreal that win and go through to the Champions League knockout stages. But back here at Celtic Park, the home side in possession. A huge ball over towards the right-hand side, just a little bit too much on that one from Liam Shaw, asking a bit too much there of Liel Abada. Didn't quite keep it in play. Juan Miranda now with the throw for Betis. So the visitors looking to try and just control the game a little bit better. Now they have seen a lot more of the ball in the last 3 or 4 minutes. Still not really able to test the Celtic keeper Scott Bain. Here is McCarthy now. McCarthy. This ball back towards Montgomery. It's with Scales. Pressure there from Akoukou, having to go back towards Montgomery. And he tries a very long ball down the left-hand side. It puts a bit of curl on it as well. And that should just stay in play. The ball just rolls out though, quite to keep it in play there. It was Stephen Welsh with a really good diagonal ball across. It was Stephen Welsh, of course, that had given Celtic the lead with this header early on. You can see now Postecoglou. Just a bit of a round of applause from him there. Wasn't going too crazy when that goal was scored. Very early in the game, of course, but always looking to try and get an improvement. Celtic certainly have looked a little bit more consistent in the Scottish League in the last month or so. Pleased to at least be getting into the Europa Conference League with this the Conference League knockout stage, I should say, with finishing third in the group. As Ismaili Osoro gives away the free kick there, just runs it to the back of Borja Iglesias. So the referee was in no doubt that that should be a free kick to Betis. Ball here from William Carvalho. That's a really good ball as well to pick out Tello, who is onside. The flag doesn't go up. He rolls it back towards Juan Miranda. Then a back heel from Tello, plays that ball straight into the path of Miranda. Lovely combination play. Miranda's cross into the box, just a little bit too short for Joaquin. Ball played out for a throw by Urahide. Now it's played out quickly here. Akoukou back heels this one all the way back into his own half. Bit of pressing there as well from Ajeti, but that ball should reach Rui Silva. And the goal kicker plays out now towards Akoukou, over towards the left-hand side for Edgar Gonzalez. Here goes Juan Miranda with a ball over the top. It was the right idea, just a little bit too long there for Iglesias, and an easy pick up there for Scott Bain, who so far has had a very quiet evening, which he certainly won't mind. Now rolled out towards McCarthy. Options here as McCarthy plays this ball over the top, taken down by Montgomery. Back towards Liam Scales. Scales in the end going back towards Welsh. Couldn't see any easy option to go forward straight away. Visitors doing what they can to press a little bit higher up the field. I think difficult to criticise Betis for the way they started the game. It was such a quick goal that Celtic scored. You could just see that the home side were keen to get on the board early. And straight away from their first corner kick, ball dropped to Liam Shaw, and he probably should have scored with that first chance that Celtic got from the corner. The ball was played out for another corner kick, and it was that resulting corner that gave Celtic the lead. That lead has been maintained, but they're just making a bit of a mess of it here at the edge of their own box, are the home side. Eventually they do clear it long. It's kept in play by Adam Montgomery, but he was coming from an offside position as he was trying to get after that long ball, so it is going to be a free kick to Betis now. The ball played back towards the edge of the area. Pizzella towards Akoukou. He plays it back towards Rui Silva. Ajeti and Soro doing a bit of pressing here as well. The goalkeeper just hurried into playing this one out towards the right-hand side. And that's a good clearance from the keeper. Headed on as well by Rui Bal, but it won't get through towards Diego Lainez. That's easily played back by Welsh towards his own keeper. And here is Bitton now down the right-hand side for Celtic. His ball is headed away though by Gonzalez. And then Akoukou down the left-hand side for Tello. Iglesias now into Joaquin. William Carvalho rolls away from Liam Shaw, keeping possession here for Betis. Still a long way from the penalty area though. Square now to Akoukou. Then finds Lainez down the right-hand side. Rui Bal and Lainez. He gets to the edge of the area. He's stood up here by Liam Scales. Still keeps the ball alive here. There's Lainez back towards Carvalho. A few more Betis players now in this bit of possession as Carvalho tries a quick ball down the left-hand side. He picks out Juan Miranda. Back towards Joaquin. Joaquin back towards Miranda, but Celtic are back in numbers here. Nice bit of play there though from Lainez. He's moved over towards the left-hand side this time, being blocked by Urahide and by Abada. Plays the ball into Juan Miranda. Early cross from Juan Miranda as well. Aimed at the near post. It was the right idea. But Scott Bain was also in the right position there for Celtic to make what in the end was a fairly easy claim there. The Celtic goalkeeper. Looks like Betis have learnt from Celtic when the home side are playing out from the back. Betis have just sent a few players further forward. So Joaquin and Iglesias there just trying to win that ball back, but Celtic do get towards the halfway line. Welsh now out towards Scales. Now it's with Montgomery. Runs straight into trouble though in the form of Paul Akoukou. And then Rui Bal and Lainez can combined to lose the ball there for Betis. Celtic win it back, and it's played back to Scott Bain. Over now towards Bitton down the right-hand side. Bit of space here as well to move forward near Bitton. He tries a diagonal ball to pick out Montgomery. It's a really good ball as well from Bitton. And Montgomery just having to check his run to get away from Rui Bal. Rolls this back towards McCarthy. McCarthy back over towards Montgomery on the left. There's 3 Celtic players waiting at the edge there. He can't quite get the ball in though. McCarthy again back heels that one towards Stephen Welsh. And Welsh back over towards Montgomery on the left. There's Betis are playing a high offside line as well, which is certainly just making that little bit more difficult for Celtic to get a ball into the box. Quite comfortable in possession here on the home side, but they've got no real outlet to get that ball into the box. And now they're caught in possession with the ball to Liam Shaw, was just a little bit undercooked, and all of a sudden Iglesias could bring the ball forward. It plays an early ball in as well for Lainez, and he just blasts it wide. He was sliding in there, Lainez, thumb up from the Betis number 20 there, because that was a really good ball from Iglesias to play him in. But Celtic have to be very careful. They actually looked very comfortable in possession there, but Betis did what they could. They played as high an offside line as possible to make it difficult for Celtic to get that ball into the box. And eventually it was Liam Shaw who was caught in possession. And Celtic very nearly paying the price, but they're playing out from the back again. In possession in midfield here with Liam Shaw out towards Montgomery. Runs straight into Rui Bal, who then clips the man. Referee plays the advantage though, because Celtic are still on the attack down the left-hand side. Ball breaks into Scales, who then plays a ball into the box. Headed over the bar by Ajeti and out for a goal kick. That's good play from Celtic and from our official as well, Daniel Stefanski, because he could have given a free kick there, but saw that Celtic was still on the run. Allowed play to go on. And actually, looking at that replay, what Liam Scales should have done, I think, was actually hit that with the left foot towards goal. He was already inside the box when he tried to sort of chip that ball towards the head of Albion Ajeti. I think it might have been better if he'd have just taken a shot himself there. He was close enough. But here is Joaquin now, the Betis captain, rolls that ball into space for Lainez. Lainez heading towards the penalty area. He looked for that ball down the left-hand side for Tello. That's picked off by Urahide. And here come Celtic now. With this ball played out from Shaw towards Montgomery down the left-hand side. Montgomery runs straight into Rui Bal. He's not going to get a free kick for that. And Betis now able to get forward here with William Carvalho out towards Tello down the left-hand side. Him and Joaquin play a lovely 1-2, and there's space here for the Betis captain down the left-hand side. Gets to the edge of the area. Urahide is with him, but Joaquin drops the shoulder, breaks into the box, leaves the ball now for Tello, who just took too long on it. That's a good play there from Ismaila Soro to win the ball back for Celtic, but only briefly. Visitors are back in possession now with Paul Akoukou. Square now to William Carvalho. And the ball out towards the left-hand side. Space here for Juan Miranda. Miranda's ball into the box. That's a big challenge there from Osaze Urahide. Really gets into the player there, but it was a fair challenge, no complaints. He won the ball, and Betis now back in possession on the halfway line with Akoukou and Carvalho. The two of them are just starting to see a bit more of the ball now. And Carvalho looked up, but again, Celtic doing what Betis were doing. They're playing a high offside line as well. I know there's a bit of pace down the channels here for the visitors in Lainez and in Tello. So if they're going to play that offside line, it's going to make it that bit more difficult for Betis, but it also means they have to get it right. But Lainez does really well there to get away from Welsh, and then he plays the ball inside to Joaquin. Joaquin leaves this for Lainez, and he plays it into Tello, who takes a right-footed strike. Oh, and Bain punches that one away for a corner. Must admit, I was a little bit surprised by that from Scott Bain. I thought he had enough time there to try and make a save, actually catch the ball. But he's particularly risking it as there was a... Mind you, was swerving a little bit in front of the Celtic keeper, and these days, of course, it is safety first. If you're not sure, if you're not 100% sure you're going to catch it, then it probably is better to try and punch it away, palm it away. We're just getting a replay of that earlier chance there where Lainez broke into the box. Wasn't too far away from getting that effort on target, but it's a corner kick now to Betis from the right-hand side, and it is going to be the captain, Joaquin, with an outswinger towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Oh, it's just over the head of Edgar Gonzalez. He's certainly the tallest player in the Betis side this evening. To the ball just over his head and out for a throw to Celtic now down their right-hand side, coming up to 20 minutes gone. Independent off-tube studio commentary. It's still Celtic 1, Real Betis 0, and it's still a very quiet evening in terms of the 8 o'clock kickoffs in the Europa League. I'm actually going to refresh my scores page just to be sure that it's not frozen, but it's not. Just had the 2 goals so far in the 2 games that involved the British team. Celtic beating Betis by a goal to 0. West Ham still trailing Dinamo Zagreb by a goal to 0. No goals in any of the other 8 o'clock kickoffs so far. And here come Betis now with Joaquin. He gets to the edge of the area. Celtic might just be getting a little bit concerned. The visitors are starting to shade the possession now. Starting to find a few more combinations at the edge of the box as Carvalho goes back towards Akoukou. Space down the left-hand side now for Juan Miranda. Gets into the penalty area. Miranda plays it square. This is a great chance. A strike from Joaquin, saved by Bain. And then Bain's having to slide in to get that second ball away. But you just get the feeling that this Betis goal is getting closer and closer unless the home side do something to stop this possession in midfield. Nice little dummy there from Iglesias to leave the ball for Joaquin. A firm strike from Joaquin, but it was straight at Scott Bain. And again, safety first from the Celtic keeper. Didn't want to risk diving on it and potentially losing it, so he slides in and put it out for a throw. The throw's been taken quickly. Nice little 1-2 here. And Rui Bal breaks into the box, so he can't quite get the shot away. Again, it was a lovely ball to play Rui Bal into the box, but it's out for a corner now down the right-hand side. Nice little 1-2 there. Rui Bal with, I think it was Tello there at the edge of the box, but Rui Bal couldn't quite get on the end of it. And it was Stephen Welsh just doing enough, getting a touch on the ball and putting it out for a corner. It's going to be Joaquin to take it. Plenty of players to aim for inside the penalty area. Outswinger from Joaquin. Ball headed up in the air by Bitton and away from the penalty area. Lainez knocks this back to Joaquin. Just gets away from Adam Montgomery, who wanted to shepherd that one out. Joaquin wanted to shepherd it out for a corner. But Montgomery gets there first. And there's a bit of a scuffle there. And Lainez goes down. The Betis players are furious here that there was an elbow. The referee, Daniel Stefanski, is trying to calm down both sets of players. It looks as though there is going to be a yellow card here for Ismaila Soro. And the referee is really doing his best to try and calm down the Betis players. They feel as though a yellow card perhaps isn't even enough. There's certainly a little bit of a scuffle there between Ismaila Soro and Diego Lainez. Lainez hit the deck as though he'd been poleaxed. I'm not quite sure it was as bad as that. But the referee, you can see as well, you can actually lip read the referee saying shut up now. So I think he's getting a little bit fed up with all of this. Daniel Stefanski, he had his yellow card out very quickly. So he obviously made his mind up that it was just going to be a yellow and nothing else. And Ismaila Soro still trying to argue the case there that he doesn't even deserve that. I mean, Lainez and Soro are both holding on to each other, and then, well, I mean, Soro has his elbow up near Lainez's chin, and then Lainez hits the deck and grabs the top of his forehead like he'd been hit with a full elbow to the head. It's absolutely not true. Certainly was nothing like that, and you can see again from this replay. It's a risk there from Ismaila Soro, but the fact is, he, for a split second, raises the elbow, but it's nowhere near Lainez's face, and it's certainly nowhere near the top of his head, where the Betis player has just grabbed his head. So it's sadly, it's more evidence into the file for footballers play acting just to try and get an opponent into trouble. It certainly won't be the first or the last time that we see that on a football field. But you think now with all the video technology, I mean, Lainez, he's got a booking as well, which frankly I actually quite like the way the referees handled that, because although Soro does say he certainly doesn't strike Lainez, he gets into a scuffle with him. Arguably, you could say that neither player deserved the yellow, or if they're both going to get one, I think that probably makes a bit more sense there. But it was just one of those, I think, where Lainez couldn't accept that he'd lost the ball. Because he saw Soro's elbow near his head, he thought he might try and use that to his advantage. But that's just slowed the game down, which might actually help Celtic, in fairness, because the last few minutes, Betis really were starting to look like they were getting a real lion's share of possession, forcing the first saves out of Scott Bain as well. It's a throw on to Betis down the left-hand side. Long throw from Miranda. Sliced out by Urahide. And it's going to be another throw to Betis, although they've gained some territory. It's right by the halfway line now. Just getting reports there may have been a goal for a Leverkusen away at Ferencváros. In the meantime, Captain Joaquin is off the field momentarily. He's changing his boots, In the meantime, the ball is played back towards Rui Silva, and his clearance charged down by Ajeti. Well, this is always going to be a byproduct of the fact that teams are always trying to play out from the back. Goalkeepers don't want to clear it long anymore. And Albion Ajeti closing down on Rui Silva. But in doing so, he's actually injured himself. He does actually close down the attempted clearance from Rui Silva, but the ball deflects out for a goal kick. But it looks as though Ajeti may have just hurt himself in the process. I don't know if has it jarred his leg, perhaps, as that ball was being cleared. He certainly pulls up straight away like he's done a hamstring or something like that. Just holding the back of his leg there as well. So wait to see whether Ajeti can play on. Taylor, Turnbull, Johnston, Uluwemi, Furuhashi, Juranovic, McGregor, Hart, Henderson and Murray are on the bench for Celtic this evening. This is going to take a little while here, as Ajeti's really struggling to get up. As far as the Betis bench is concerned, it's Juanmi, Alex Moreno, Rodriguez, Victor Ruiz, Martin Montoya, Robert, William Jose, Mark Bartra, Sergio Canales, Danny Rebolo and Andres Guardado as the subs for Betis this evening. It does look as though Kyogo Furuhashi is going to be coming on for Celtic, so this injury for Ajeti does look to be pretty serious. Just the way he pulled up as soon as he tried to close that last ball down tells me that this is quite serious. I mean, he's hobbling behind the goal now, so I don't think he'll be coming on. I do sometimes make the mistake of trying to preempt a player who's definitely not coming back on the field, and then 10-15 seconds later he's sprinting down the line again. But I don't think that's going to be happening with Ajeti this time. Looks like he's didn't look like there was much in it, but for whatever it was, maybe as he was straining to try and close that clearance down, it's just perhaps tweaked a hamstring. Meanwhile, it is Betis in possession now. Switch ball here from Akoukou out towards the left-hand side, taken down by Miranda, but he was actually out of play as he did so. So it is going to be a throw to Celtic down the right-hand side. But confirmation now that Albion Ajeti is going to have to leave the field, and he is going to be replaced by Kyogo Furuhashi. So Furuhashi on the field now for the home side. So we'll have to wait and see how he's going to be able to fit into this. So there was a couple of good moments there for Ajeti. In fact, he actually got himself injured, closing down a clearance from the goalkeeper, which very nearly deflected into the back of the net. Well, would have been quite a collector's item, really, a player getting injured in the process of scoring a goal. We see players occasionally getting injured as they celebrate a goal, but now Joaquin brings the ball forward here for Betis, gets to the edge of the area. What a strike that is, just wide, just over the bar from the 40-year-old. So Joaquin just found a little bit of space at the edge of the area, just dropped a shoulder to get away from Stephen Welsh, trying to pick out that top corner just a little bit too high. So, as I say, Joaquin, evergreen. It's been this is 22nd season as a professional, which for an outfield player really is quite something. I don't think there are too many players who started their playing careers in the 90s as outfield players who are still playing today. So that's certainly something in Joaquin's favour. And he's not just a sort of flagship player in the team for the sake of it. He's already had a 2 or 3 very important peak passages of play in this game. That effort from him just a moment ago was just over the bar as Akoukou there crashing into, it looks like it was Montgomery. Referee just coming across there to calm the situation. In fairness, the Celtic man wasn't really complaining. It was a bit of a clumsy challenge from Akoukou. Now back on the left-hand side. Played back towards Scott Bain, who's just wandered outside his penalty area, being closed down here by Borja Iglesias. Here Bitton now brings the ball forward for Celtic. Rolls it back now towards James McCarthy. Jamie McCarthy, as he's referred to these days. Ball now down the left-hand side, flicked on here by Montgomery, but that's given away. And Joaquin now in possession for Betis. Plays the ball down the left-hand side for Tello. Tello inside, but that's well read by Ismailia Soro. Wins that ball back for Celtic. And then a long ball over the top from Liam Shaw. Very long, in fact, too long. Nobody in a Celtic shirt close enough to make any use of that one. Now back with goalkeeper Rui Silva. Go well again, being closed down by Furuhashi. Just rushed his clearance there slightly. mentioned that there might have been a goal in the Leverkusen, in the Ferencváros Leverkusen game. It is still goalless in that one, but there has been at least one other goal this evening, and that's Rapid Vienna taking the lead through Lubicic away at Genk. So it's Genk 0, Rapid Vienna 1. It's the same group as West Ham, who are still a goal down at home to Dinamo Zagreb, but still quite a few goalless games. The game at Braga and Ferencváros and Lazio and Ludogorets and Marseille. All those games so far goalless in the 8 o'clock kickoffs this evening. Well, it's a bit of work here for Lainez to try and keep his side in possession. That's a strong challenge on Lainez as well. He might be a bit of a target for Celtic players after that collision he had with Soro earlier in the half. But yeah, there's just a little bit extra there perhaps from Liam Scales. Arguably you could say he does get the ball, but just leaves a little bit there on Lainez as well. And certainly Betis number 20 rolling around like he's in absolute agony, but funnily enough he's back on his feet just a few seconds later, and he hasn't given up on the referee here as Lainez. He's still trying to get Daniel Stefanski's attention. It's a long free kick there from Betis, but it's straight to Celtic near Biton now, down the right-hand side for Ismaila Soro, who's all over the pitch for Celtic this evening. Really busy performance from him, but then I've just talked him up and then he plays the ball. Well, it was meant to be for Furuhashi, but it's still quite a long way away from him. And Betis now playing out from the back here with William Carvalho to Juan Miranda. Tello then plays it first time through the middle, and that ball is cleared all the way back towards the Betis penalty area. And Rui Silva is off his line to claim the ball. Moves it out down the right-hand side. Played forward here, and the ball is all the way through towards Scott Welsh. Furuhashi now in a bit of space, but that's well read by Pezzella, and it needed to be because it looked as though Furuhashi was going to get through the middle. Then there's a bit of a strong challenge on the halfway line, and Liam Shaw is going to be the second Celtic player to go in the book. Bit of a frustrated look from him, as if to say that he doesn't think there's too much in this. I mean, he's right, in fairness. I mean, Joaquin, you know, for all of the experience he has, he barely gets touched on the back of the shoulder there, and Liam Shaw points to the referee, says that's my first foul, and he has got a point. I mean, that is a very, very soft yellow card. The referee's already allowed a couple of stronger challenges to go this evening and not even classed them as fouls, but that one he felt as though not only was it a foul, but it also needed a booking. It's a long ball now down the left-hand side here for Tello to chase, but Udohide is there first. Doesn't quite trust that ball to go out on its own, so he plays it back to Scott Bain. Clearance now from the goalkeeper, and some more rolling around here from Betis players. This time it's Juan Miranda who's run into Ismaila Soro. The referee is just trying to calm Soro down because he's saying, look, I haven't done anything, ref, as if to suggest that maybe he was facing a second yellow. Just looking at this replay, it's a bit clumsy from Soro. Whether or not you would say that's a second yellow card, it probably would be, well, not probably, I think it would be too harsh. But he's got to be careful in those situations when a player's up in the air like that. You collide with him, and if it's a referee that doesn't know you as well as, say, a Scottish Premier League referee would, then there's always that chance they might just think that it could be a second yellow. So it's just a free kick to Betis on the left-hand side. There's a right-footed option in Joaquin, left-footed option in Miranda, and it's Miranda's ball into the box, which is headed out by McCarthy. Puts his hands up to apologise as well, James McCarthy, because I think the goalkeeper Bain was telling him to leave it, and he should have left it. There was nobody in a blue shirt, a blue Betis shirt close to that. McCarthy's just gifted Betis a corner. These are the sorts of corners that tend to come back and bite you. Ones that you weren't really expecting to give away, one that you didn't need to give away. It's the fifth corner kick of the game. Celtic have had two. This is Betis' third. Outswinger from Joaquin. It's a header from Edgar Gonzalez. I mentioned he's the tallest Betis player. Wasn't a particularly powerful header though, and and an easy save in the end from Scott Bain. Here Bitton now brings the ball out for Celtic down the right-hand side, inside to Sorrow. He then plays it to square to McCarthy, and Scales down towards Montgomery down the left-hand side. He's got an overlapping run in the form of Liam Shaw. Shaw being blocked off here by Pizzella, but he rolls the back towards Liam Scales, and Scales now looks at the edge of the area, finds Sorrow. Two players around him, plays it across to Udahide. The right-hand side now for Abada. The international just holds it up here for Udahide, back to Abada, gets the ball into the box, but it's just a little bit too much of an angle there. No chance for Furuhashi to get on the end of that one. And, it's an easy save in the end for Rui Silva. It's still been played at a very good pace. I've enjoyed this game. Coming up to 36 minutes gone, independent off-tube studio commentary. Celtic leading after that very early header from a corner from Stephen Welsh, but Betis have certainly staked a claim for an equaliser since then, and here they go again now, down the right-hand side. It's ball into the box. Oh, that should be 1-1. It's a great cross from Aitor Rubial, and it should have been finished by Iglesias. He was inside the 6-yard box. The ball just eluded him. It's crossed back into the penalty area, and good. Well, I was going to say it's a good challenge from Miranda, but I think the referee was prepared to let play go on, even though Celtic felt they were owed a free kick. The referee allowed play to go on. It allowed for Abada to get towards the halfway line before Edgar Gonzalez stops him. Juan Miranda was still down when Celtic was starting that move. Can't really see if the Betis left back is back on his feet. Saying that though, the visitors have exchanged 5 or 6 passes now, so you would think that he is back on his feet, otherwise they would have put the ball out of play themselves. All the way back towards Rui Silva now. Betis keeper, short to Gonzalez. To Rui Silva, long clearance now down the right-hand side, just about kept in play there. No, it wasn't kept in play by Aitor Ruibal. It's a problem as well, isn't it, that most managers these days expect their goalkeepers to basically be outfield players with gloves on, and the goalkeepers just don't have that sort of distribution. We've seen that from Rui Silva 4 or 5 times already this evening, where they tries to play that sort of diagonal ball to the right wing. It's always a little bit too high. Celtic have been gifted possession 2 or 3 times like that, but in the meantime Celtic from that throw on lost the ball fairly quickly, and then the referee trying to take the interesting situation there. James McCarthy unhappy there with the referee. Celtic gave a free kick away on the halfway line, and McCarthy was basically trying to get his body in the way, as players do, to stop it from being taken quickly. And the referee almost started pushing McCarthy out of the way. And you could see that McCarthy was a little bit perplexed. What are you doing? But so Betis have taken the free kick. The ball's gone down the left-hand side. It's been put out for a throw. Long throw into the box. It almost gets through towards Iglesias, but ball now back with Scott Bain. Holds it out towards Udahide. It's now with Stephen Welsh down the left-hand side for Scales. Scales gets away from Lainez, but then he runs straight into Akoukou. Ball played back towards German Pizzella. See that Celtic just backing off a little bit in the last few minutes, but overall I would say they've controlled the first half pretty well. There have been a couple of near misses where perhaps Joaquin or indeed Iglesias and Lainez perhaps could have done a little bit better with the chances that they had. But other than that, Celtic, I think, have been pretty pleased, I think, Angelos Postecoglou, with the way his side have been able to keep possession. And they're keeping possession now with a lovely bit of play there from Liam Shaw. Gets the ball in towards the edge of the area. Oh, and Sorrow plays it in towards Furuhashi. Couldn't quite control it first time. And then it's Akoukou that robs Montgomery of the ball. Plays it in towards Lainez, and now Betis can clear their lines. But that was a great chance for Celtic to try and double their lead before half-time. It's back at the edge of the Betis penalty area with Edgar Gonzalez out towards Tello and Miranda down the left-hand side. Tello gets to the edge of the area. Miranda's got on the overlap. Tello chooses to ignore him. Joaquin inside now towards Carvalho. His strike is just wide. Again, lovely combination play here from Betis, starting down the left-hand side between Tello and Juan Miranda. Then a nice little flick of the ball there from Joaquin, and a curling effort from William Carvalho. It's about a yard wide in the end, but the combination play really was very, very nice indeed. And this previous move here for Celtic, as the ball played by Ismaila Soro, he can't believe that Furuhashi hasn't controlled it. Now that I've seen a couple of replays, I can't believe that Furuhashi didn't control it either. Sort of let the ball go in between his legs and then realised there was just a little bit too much pace on the ball for him to make up with it. But Betis lead in terms of shots and shots on target. In the 40 minutes we've had so far, there have been 6 efforts from Betis, 3 of which have been on target. The home side have had 3 efforts, 1 of them has been on target, and that was the header from Stephen Welsh, which gave Celtic the lead very early on in this match. That was in the 3rd minute. Welsh's header from Liel Abada corner. Here's Udahide now down the right-hand side, blocked here by Tello, and in fact Tello deflects the ball off Udahide, so it is going to be a throw to Betis. Taken quickly here by Juan Miranda. So that's quite a well one, and so you can see that Iglesias just apologising there. This is quite an interesting situation. The ball was a throw-on that started in play and then went straight out of play. And Iglesias, I think, in frustration, just booted the ball into the crowd. He didn't, but he flicked it with the outside of the boot, and you could see that a couple of, well, more than a couple of Celtic fans straight on their feet, pointing to Iglesias, and his apology came split seconds later. Imagine that a whole lower section of a stand here at Celtic Park, when they all stand up and start pointing their finger at you, you better as well apologise. Otherwise things could escalate very quickly. But Lainez now down the left-hand side, runs that ball in towards Bitton and wins Betis a corner. It's going to be from the left-hand side this time, so it's going to be an in-swinger from Joaquin. Plenty of players to aim for inside the penalty area. Lainez has gone short for the corner as well. That's where the ball has gone. Lainez then drops the shoulder, tries to get that ball into the box. In the end, he's just won his side another corner. How good Joaquin's crossing is. I think if he's playing on the left, crossing it in with his right foot makes much more sense for him to just whip this in rather than playing short balls. I mean, Lainez very nearly lost that ball there for Betis, so looks like it's going to be a ball whipped in directly now by the Betis captain. And Joaquin whips this one in towards the back post. Good header away by Udahide. Ball played in towards Furuhashi. Blocked here by Ruibal. Ball out for a throw to Celtic down the left-hand side. Just 2.5 minutes to go until the end of this first half. Not too many goals to speak of in the first half of Europa League games this evening. Marseille do lead against Lokomotiv Moscow. Kadiusz Milik with the goal there for Marseille. Vienna still in front against Genk after Ljubicic's goal. And Dinamo Zagreb lead after Orsic's goal away at the London Stadium against West Ham. Say that this game Celtic still lead by a goal to nil, goalless at all the other 8 o'clock kickoffs so far this evening. The ball now out for a throw down the left-hand side for Betis, by Miranda towards his goalkeeper. Bit of pressing there from Furuhashi, who's not really had too much of a chance to get into the game so far. There was that one through ball from Soro, which he would have liked to have done much better with. But other than that, hasn't really had too many opportunities to get into the box. Here is Scales now down the left-hand side for Celtic, wins his side a throw. This is all good news for Postecoglou's side. They can just keep a bit of possession now inside the Betis half. As I say, they're actually playing the ball quite intentionally back into their own half. And now a long ball from Stephen Welsh down the left-hand side. Just gets away from Liam Shaw. Here is William Carvalho now. Oh, does really well. Dance away from a couple of Celtic players, plays that into Joaquin. Joaquin under pressure there from Bitton. Keeps the ball here for Betis, and then Carvalho was fouled, but the referee allows the play to go on because the move is still live here for Betis. Carvalho now with the ball over the top for Tello. What a great ball that is. Oh, Tello tries to play it into Iglesias. It just gets away from him. It wouldn't have counted anyway. It looks as though Tello, the number 11, was in an offside position when this ball is played to him. Yes, indeed. Not by much, but he just steps behind the line of the last defender and couldn't quite pick out his teammate anyway, but it was a lovely, again, a great ball over the top, and there wasn't too much in it. McCarthy tries to get started down the right-hand side. He is brought down. We're going to get 2 minutes of injury time at the end of this first half. Makes sense, really, when you think that we had a goal scored early on. Also had a couple of injury stoppages and a substitution, so 2 minutes is about right. And a throw now to be taken. In fact, it's a free kick to be taken here by Urahide. See where his teammates are. Anyone who's heard me on commentary before will know that I will have a real bee in my bonnet about injury time anyway, because you never get the time back. Years and years ago, one TV company used to actually post at the end of each half how much time the ball spent in play. So eventually I think they were instructed not to do that anymore, because it was revealing to us that basically the ball spends around an average of half an hour in play per half, and we never really get all those 15 minutes back, do we? So just one of those things. But Celtic now winning the ball back here in midfield. Hashi now over towards the left-hand side for Shaw. Back heels it now, and that's a great ball in as well from the left-hand side from Scales, aimed at Abada, who was in the box just a little bit away from him, and now potentially one more chance here for Betis to go on the attack before the break, as Joaquin is robbed of the ball in midfield. Good challenge there from Liam Shaw to win the ball back. Now a chance for Celtic to go on the counter, as Soro kept that in play. He did really well there, Ismaili Soro, but as he played the ball down the middle, he actually found Liel Abada, who was just in an offside position there. So that will be a free kick taken quickly. Down the left-hand side now goes Juan Miranda. His cross is cut out. Has it Scott Bain has just got there before it went out for a corner. Celtic keeper had to really be on his toes there. Just see as he managed it. Ooh, I think he might have sliced that out for a corner anyway. Did his best to try and stop it going out for a corner, but it's going to be the last move of this first half, you would imagine. Joaquin whips that ball into the edge of the 6-yard box. It's just away from Edgar Gonzalez. Drops it to Akoukou, who tees up the effort. Oh, it strikes the bar. What an effort that was from William Akoukou. Still a chance here now as the ball drops towards Edgar Gonzalez, and then the referee calls time on the first half. A first half that Celtic lead by a goal to nil. But Paul Akoukou with a fabulous strike, the dying seconds of this first half, striking the bar before the referee calls time. Celtic 1, Real Betis 0, and I'm back in 15 minutes for second half off Tube Studio Commentary.